One of our values.
These are fake ones. Right, I'm just gonna.
Doubt, depression, Division 1. As a little girl, sports were always something fun, something exciting, something I did with my friends every other weekend. Some of my best memories come from the Friday night football games, the soccer Saturdays, and fall ball Sundays. But as I got older, things started to change. Everyone was investing in one sport. The soccer Saturdays and fall ball Sundays slowly began to fade away, and they were replaced with tournaments and private lessons that lasted all weekend, every weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Evolution's Dilemma of Youth Sports. My name is Ainsley Grosz, and today I will shed light on the chronic mental fatigue, repetitive use injuries, and overwhelming expectations impacting young athletes across the United States. Youth sports used to be fun and low pressure. Today, encouraged specialization often lowers happiness levels by replacing fun with stress and eventually burnout. Now, according to a 2019 study conducted by the National Athletic Trainers Association, the average youth athlete spends around 15 hours a week practicing and competing in a single sport. Now, it's very important that you note that I don't hate sports. In fact, I've been very fortunate to grow up in an incredibly sport-oriented household. Believe me, anytime the Padres are on, my entire neighborhood knows about it, okay? It's wonderful. But that being said, as I've grown up, I've noticed just how little opportunity I've had to explore any other interests outside of my sport. I'm a water polo goalie year-round, both here at Cathedral and at San Diego Shores Water Polo Club. And in the last 2 years alone, I have broken nearly all my fingers, severely strained ligaments in my elbows, dislocated my shoulders, my knees on multiple occasions, and torn my meniscus twice, an injury that prevented me from competing in the majority of my sophomore season. Now, that being said, I'm extremely passionate about minimizing the amount of 16-year-old Humpty Dumptys of the world, okay? As I'm sure we can all agree that being ripped apart and glued back together will change a person. So, while intense, repetitive, year-round training will build skill, it inevitably leads to overuse injuries. And this isn't an unknown risk, just an ignored one. According to UC Davis Health, 50% of young athletes develop significant overuse injuries that affect them later in life. A prime example of this being my dad, who was a Division I pitcher at St. Mary's College. After throwing so much heat, as he would say, he sustained a torn labrum that couldn't be repaired without surgery and still makes throwing for him incredibly painful. Now hold on to that and we're gonna sidetrack for a second. Sports medicine doctor Hector Lopez recorded in his 2025 findings that the youngest stress-induced injury he treated occurred in an 8-year-old child. Let's bring it back. My dad had been pitching for 11 years before sustaining a significant overuse injury that required treatment. This child was 8. Now, upon reading that, I will acknowledge that I thought it was crazy, that it was so extreme and rare, and it's only one case, right? It's only one case. Until I read this. 70% of young athletes are specialized by age 10. How many of you have played one sport since you were 10 years old? Yeah? Me too. And while I can say that 3-hour practices a day, 5 days a week, inevitably made me better at my sport, they led to injury after injury after injury. I want you to picture a stool. Just think about it, imagine it. Now, I would think that all of you thought of a chair with 3 legs. Anybody think of a chair with 2 legs? Exactly, because it wouldn't balance. When I lost the sport leg of my stool, I became unbalanced because I didn't have the necessary time to invest in building more legs. And this isn't exclusive to me. This is reality for so many young athletes. When the sport disappears, so does the identity and they become unbalanced. So while we're on this topic of stability, I want to talk about mental stability. So mental strength is just as crucial when it comes to performance, both on the field and academically for young athletes. Studies show that 50% of young athletes experience burnout at some point during their athletic careers, specifically in high-pressure, year-round settings. And on top of that, almost all young athletes feel like they are under constant pressure to perform, making it increasingly difficult to stay motivated in the classroom and fueling anxiety. So, This isn't all about stress. Stress is a natural thing. Everybody experiences stress. But intense year-round training leaves such little time for sleep, for schoolwork, and for developing meaningful relationships. Over time, draining the mental energy that athletes require for any and all other obligations. But at the root of all of this, of stress, of the overuse injuries, of the mental instability lies one thing: the expectation. Society discusses the Division I scholarship as if it is the ultimate finish line, the goal that every young athlete should reach, when the reality is so far from that. Only 2% of high school athletes go on to achieve collegiate athletic scholarships, and fewer than 1% of those athletes go on to play their sport professionally. So, I ask you, or don't ask you, I'm telling you, what we value shapes what we create. And that choice, our choice, has the potential to reshape youth sports for every future athlete. Thank you.